coming at you live from a couple of stools in the low class studios. This is a feminist and a comedian walk into a bar. I'm Justin Golak. I am a comedian. And I am sipping on, baby, I'm sipping on that Lone Star beer. Got another riddle for you, courtesy of my Lone Star bottle cap. That'll be posted on Twitter at Justin Golak. I got this one. I don't think this one's too hard. It's one of the easier ones. Someone got the one from last show.
High five. Who was it?
Don't know.
You don't want to give him a shout out?
I should. Maybe I should get that right. Let me see if we can pop it up real quick. Why don't I get you in? Why don't I check you in? So yeah, I'm sipping on Lone Star. Nothing exciting to report because that's what I always sip on. It's not even a sauna day. We're recording on an off day.
Yeah.
But still living that sauna life.
Sauna life is.
I strive for
a lifestyle.
I strive for sweat and hydration back to back. It's the ebb and flow. It's my personal water cycle.
Heat shock proteins.
So my co-host, my life partner,
Hello.
my heart.
Oh, thanks, bud.
And soul. Jackie Manty, feminist. What are you sipping on?
Your heart and soul reference made me think of WrestleMania.
Nice.
I'm drinking, Dang That's Good brand butterscotch root beer. Gluten-free, caffeine-free, 12 ounces. The original.
You don't have to vamp that much.
That's good. It's fucking good. That could be the name of their brand. Dang, that's fucking good. It tastes like if you were just like sucking on a Werther's and then drank root beer with it. It's like a little kid's dream. It's so good.
Kind of a sip?
Yeah. Hold on.
Because tell people the story behind this and why you need to give me a sip of it.
Okay, so we got... Where did we go? We went out to eat.
Phillies.
Oh, yeah, we went and got Phillies, and we got them to go. We stopped by a little convenience store by the sandwich shop. Oh, it's so good, right? By the sandwich shop, and we both picked out drinks.
It's almost a little too sweet, but it's goddamn good.
But that was a few weeks ago, so I forgot which drinks I picked out versus which ones Justin picked out, and so I was just looking in the fridge.
No, that's what I'm saying. You grabbed 3 sodas, I think. I grabbed 1 to drink with my Philly. And I was like, you know what? This butterscotch root beer sounds good. I'll get that and I'll drink it some other time. And so of all, there's 2, 3 sodas in the fridge. And of the ones you picked to drink, it was the one I was like, oh, I'll try that sometime.
It's typical sibling thing where you're like, the ones I picked don't seem as good. I'm going to pick this one. But I didn't knowingly pick it. I just assumed that I picked that one too because I thought I picked all the Paps. So good choice, Justin. Thanks for sharing.
Shout out to the getter of last week's Lone Star bottle cap riddle, Doug at Y2KDJK.
Nice. Good job, Doug. What was the answer? Working overtime?
I think this might be my cousin's husband, who I guess would be my cousin. You know Doug?
Oh, yeah, nice.
Because it says
hey, Doug, what's up?
It says Parma, Ohio is his location.
Does he DJ?
He only has 3 tweets and only 27 followers. So I don't think he's active on Twitter. One of those two, he only has 2 tweets that aren't the one answering.
That's pretty awesome.
The question.
That's a good cousin.
Let me see if I remember. Let me scroll back.
Good job, Doug. We could not get it.
This is taking too much of the show, I think, but I'm okay with it. Here we go. Found it. So Doug from Parma responded. Oh, that's not the one. Hold on. I'll have to go to mine. Come on, you vamp a little bit. What are you're checking your phone?
No, I was just thinking. I love you little Parma boys.
How do you know Parma boys?
Although whenever you say the name Parma, I think of Parmesan. Maybe I'm just hungry. I went to school up near Cleveland, and I feel like there were a lot of Parma boys in my freshman dorm. I don't know, it was weird because I went to school in Northeast Ohio, and I was from Central Ohio, and so I didn't know anybody who went to school up there, but a lot of kids in my dorm, knew each other, they'd kind of gone to school, not together necessarily, but I don't know, my instinct when I was in high school was get out of here, I don't want to go to Ohio State, everybody I know goes there. So I went only 2 hours away, but I was like, this is a whole other world.
All right, I found the answer.
Okay.
Worst vamping ever. Awful. Sorry. I hope we still have some people listening for So the answer for last shows was working overtime. We got working, and then I still don't see overtime. I think it's right. Like I can see enough of it. I see the O and the time, but I just don't get how that middle picture is vert or ver or whatever.
Mm.
There's an O, and then there's like a 10 cent, which would be dime time over time. But
Doug,
I don't know what that thing in that. But
hey Doug, tweet at us this week about how it's a ver.
Doug, make your fourth tweet and make it at Justin Golak on Twitter. And if you want to, by the time you're listening to this, a new bottle cap will be up. Get on that. See if you can answer all of them, man. Look, we got our first response to the bottle cap, which might mean that prizes for correct answers are coming soon.
Coming soon.
So, no promises, but
show us your riddle prowess.
Let's see. So, I'm sipping on this. Jackie's sipping on her stolen soda. Yeah, we got Philly cheesesteaks. They were so good. I was craving them. And then, yeah, we're like, oh, we should have grabbed a soda. And then there was that grocery store right next to the place.
I got the,
you got like 4 sodas. I got 2 sodas. Can't believe you took the one soda.
No, I was just thinking my Philly was the vegan Philly. And it was,
yeah.
or no, it wasn't vegan. It was vegetarian. I mean, it had cheese on it, but it was like the seitan. Am I saying that right?
I think it's seitan.
It was the Satan meat.
Might be. I think it's seitan or something like that.
Seitan. It was really good.
What's that? There's that hockey player. There's no way you'd know this. There's a hockey player.
Named Seitan.
He spells his name S-A-T-A-N.
Yeah, I don't. S-A-T-A-N.
Like Satan. But I think he pronounces it. Let me search this one more time.
Funny.
Then we got to get into it.
That's like, do you remember that old TV show, Mrs. Bouquet versus
Yes, S-A-T-A-N.
S-A-T-A-N, but it's Satan.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Hilarious.
It might even be different, because there's like a, where is he from? Slovakia. He's from, one of those fucking countries. So he's like, it's an S with like a little V over it. Do you know what that symbol is? Like the little V. So I think it's like actually Shaitan. Or Shaitan. I don't know. It's like some, let me see if they have like a phonetic.
It's actually pronounced shitten.
Well, Slovak pronunciation. Okay, that's gonna take too long. Man, this is the worst episode. We're just like, I feel like we're out of groove.
Because now we're every other week.
No, because I feel like we've had great episodes being. I don't know. Just this felt sluggish. I don't like any of it. But I'm not gonna restart it. But
okay, well let's just get into topics.
I hope no one checked out. If people are in, realize I recognize it too. We're only like, what are we in?
We're struggling with you guys.
We're like 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
So just like, probably about 7 minutes in. Stick it. If you haven't left yet, stick it. I feel a comeback coming on. I just want to apologize. I feel weird. Let's do plugs and do topic 1.
Okay.
FemComPod.com. Listen to our better episodes by going there and checking out the archive. And get the future good episodes that we have coming up after this stinker. No, we're going to bring this one back.
Yeah.
But you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, anything you listen to podcasts on. Even if you have some weird third-party app, search us. We'll be there. You can always find the RSS feed at our website for a worst-case scenario situation. FemComPod.com.
It's because you let me vamp. I'm not the vamper.
I know, but I also shouldn't have looked it up, or I should have had that ready if I was going to bring it up. I've been doing a lot of like searching. I just feel like it's been sluggish. There's been no good energy. It's not been like snappy. I don't know. But we'll get into it. We got topics. That'll get me riled up. I'll say something offensive. You'll be shocked. We'll get into our formula.
Perfect.
Let's see.
Let's get that hate tweet.
Patreon.com. I feel like I got something to talk to you post-podcast, but I feel like we'll have more updates on this the next episode. But there is content and rewards available right now, so don't delay waiting till the next episode of this podcast to go over to patreon.com/LOClass, no dash, and get yourself some sweet, sweet rewards and some access to some sweet, sweet bonus episodes, and every single dollar and cent. I don't think you can donate less than a single dollar amount. So no cents, only dollars. Only that folding money, none of that jingling money. What do they used to call it? Like quiet money? Something
I've
like
never heard that.
Pass around like a thing.
I like jangling money.
I've heard like only folding money, but like also like passing around like a hat kind of thing, or like keep it quiet kind of. I feel like I've heard that before, so like no change. We would take it, but I think literally the platform doesn't allow it. So,
Yeah, we like the jangly stuff
but
too.
for as little as $1, you can get those sweet, sweet bonus episodes. Every level gets those. So go on over there, and for everything we do and will ever do, and everything you want to know, and honestly, the best digital entertainment on the entire planet ever created from now until the end of time. Lowclass.com. That's lo-class.com. Topic 1. I know I sent you a specific article, but I don't really want to talk about what the article was about specifically.
Cool.
It's just like when there's a giant topic, you just kind of have to like pick an article. It's
Right.
kind of like, this is the topic I want.
Totally.
This kind of touches on a part of what I want to talk about, but you know the topic. So the general topic is Laura Ingraham, who is probably super excited that people like me now know her dumb name. So like, do you ever feel like people like will bring up like MSNBC or Fox News like analysts like well, you know, Lauren Ingraham, or who's that goofball white guy on MSNBC with the glasses? Is it like Chris something?
Oh, yeah. Not Chris Matthews.
No, because that's like the old. Isn't that Hardball? That's Hardball, Chris Matt. The young kid. I feel like he's like he's kind of like a nerdy white boy hipster liberal superstar.
I guess maybe I don't know who you're talking about.
But that's my point. But people say whatever his dumb name is, and then I'll be like, I don't know. It's like these. Why
are you watching that?
How are these people known? That makes me mad that they're even known as people. But anyways, Laura Ingraham. So yeah, I like hear what Laura Ingraham said. I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Like,
is that
the Little House on the Prairie lady?
I don't know who I thought that even was. I was like,
I hadn't heard of her either.
And she's on Fox News, right?
I guess.
So she criticized the Parkland protesters during the old March for Our Lives or whatever that thing was. And
for our lives, everyone's lives.
No, man, I'm out of school. I'm safe. We do have Movie Pass now, so we put ourselves susceptible to the theater shooting.
Mass shootings.
Not a theater shooting since
Dark Knight.
Since the Joker guy.
Are you sure? I feel like there was another one.
So. So I think probably mostly schools and black churches. Stay away from those.
God.
Jesus Christ, right? So.
No, it was a white church this year.
Was
last year? Yeah, remember that terrible?
Also, don't get
married.
Violence.
Yeah. Don't hang out around marrieds.
Don't do not hang around wives. If you're ever like, if you know a wife and you're like, how's Bill? Well, okay, that's all I gotta go. That's all I gotta hear is well. I don't need to be around.
Bill's a little crazy.
Yeah, I don't even need to hear that.
Bill's a bit unstable.
I don't even need to hear that. Oh, well, we're up. Said enough. I'm gone. Enjoy. Just keep the Tupperware. I'll pick it up some other time. Just mail. You know what? You have it. It's cheap now. It's not worth it. It's not worth to be around someone going through marital problems. So Laura Ingraham. So the kids were marching for their lives. And Laura Ingraham, do you remember what she said? I don't even think it's important.
Yeah, I do.
What she said.
She tweeted a story.
I know this is my topic, but
I know it's so typical.
Shut up.
She tweeted a story about. She said so. David Hogg, who is a student from Parkland and has become sort of a leader in this movement, right? Very outspoken and well-spoken. David Hogg, Redness Hogg. She tweeted a story that I guess because I thought he tweeted originally, but I think she tweeted a story from like a conservative probably place. I don't know, but basically it was a story about how he got rejected from like 4 colleges and he whined about it. Is her word,
That's why.
And then
she
was like poking and she was just saying that he calling him a whiner basically was what she was getting
I remember
at.
this now. Yeah.
And so he responded saying. He didn't even respond to her. He just said, like, I think he retweeted her or something, and then was like, "Here are 12."
Yeah, basically called for them
advertisers, and he said, "Call them or."
He called for like a boycott of their products or whatever. Okay. I thought.
But so then the advertisers started pulling out.
Right. She
from
lost
her
some
show.
Advertisers.
She had to do a faux apology, which she, of course, used. Prop Jesus up on this too. It was during Holy Week. And she's like, in the spirit of Holy Week, I didn't mean to be hurtful, and no one should be ashamed of a 4.1 GPA.
What's that shit? That's just such dumb religious stuff, isn't it?
It's just a cop out.
Because
It's
it's
like
just,
that's how an asshole
but it's
apologizes.
like if you're religious, wouldn't you just be nice all the time? You know
Yeah,
what I
why
mean?
do you
Like,
need a spirit week?
yeah, I didn't know this was religious. I'm trying to be extra
It's
Jesus-y.
spirit week.
Right. People are so fucking. That's what it is, though, right? I think that's why it riles me
No.
up. It's so
Yeah.
childish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I feel like it defeats the purpose. I thought the purpose was, that this will transcend and translate into our entire lives, right? This goodness and taking care of each other, being good. And then you're like, Spirit Week. But that's, I mean, she doesn't practice Spirit Week. Come on, that was just a cop out in a way. It was a PR
Yeah. I guess it's, you
move
know what?
that
It's
was
like, it's the
dumb,
fucking combo of it's the combo of, like, the mindless allegiance, but, like, really the kind of, like, supercharging is just, like, just the criminally just mean behavior towards your fellow citizens,
Yeah.
most of which don't believe what you believe, so it's like kind of a waste of your time to, like, impose that. So that's the thing. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like people, you know what I mean? Like her thing, like saying like it's Holy Week, I should. It's no different than her saying like, well, I did make a New Year's resolution to not fucking be shitty, so in the spirit of my New Year's resolution. But then it's like no one is like, and also as a New Year's resoluter, I think women's bodies are mine to rule over. You know what I mean? Like it's that extra step.
Yeah.
But it's still like it's the same reason people hate like vegans and CrossFitters is kind of why I've had enough of these folk. But at least those people keep the fucking CrossFit in their fucking weird gym with ropes in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We don't
like,
all have to do rope workouts.
right. And they don't make you feel like bad.
Right.
I mean, maybe a
Maybe
little, like, because if you're fat, but they're not like, you're going to be fat in hell forever because you didn't fucking do deadlifts. What I mean? Anyways, way off topic. But anyways, let's just do the questions that I wrote down. I think the first one I wanted to get into is something that I know we've kind of like talked about a little bit leading up to this, so I kind of just wanted to like put a pin in it and just kind of discuss it because I feel like it's kind of coming to a head with this topic, which is the first question is, I mean, these children, they're minors. Let's just call them. Let's just call them minors. Is that insulting? Call them children? I don't know. You're not supposed to call.
18.
You're not supposed to call females girls. Supposed to call them women. So I don't want to say children.
You can call them girls.
No, people get mad, bro.
Oh, no.
But anyway, so these minors in most cases, or near minors, let's even then call them minors to near minors. I feel like they're clearly not only are they public personas, but I feel like there's definitely a handful of them from old Big Hog and fucking Shavehead.
Emma.
Shavehead McFist up, whatever, like all,
Emma
like,
Gonzalez.
Yeah. So not only are they public personas, but I feel like they're making themselves, like they're taking the mantle. It's not like they've been pushed into the limelight, like they're gladly taking on their position.
They are taking on their position, but they're also, I mean, those calls have to be coming to get the interviews, so they are sort of being pushed into the spotlight also.
True, but I guess would you call them, you'd call them public personalities. Meaning, like, I guess my point is like, I don't know if, like, like if Tiger Woods has sex with the Perkins waitress and then everyone surrounding the Perkins waitress's house, you'd feel bad for her because you're like, well, she's just a Perkins waitress that kind of got caught up in this news story. Where I feel like these kids are like going on a stage in front of cameras. So like they're okay with their status. They could have easily at any point been like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they're like taking pride in speaking out too.
So my point is there are public personalities, which I feel like as a society we've always used that as an excuse for kind of like you don't get all your social rights as a private person. Like we're allowed to criticize you, we're allowed to talk about you, we're allowed to cover you, we're allowed to release a certain amount of private data about you, i.e. like where you've been rejected from school or whatever. So I would just say, I would think that they are for sure public personas by their own choosing. And but for some reason, it seems like they're supposed to get a pass on criticism. It seems like the first time, anytime criticism is leveled at them, it's always like, this guy making fun of 16-year-olds, brave guy, this guy making fun of, well, who's this woman, this Lori making fun of 16? Are you big now, making fun of a child? So, do you think a public
yeah,
persona should get a pass?
that we need to listen to the children when they agree with us.
But
if you're making fun of the child, they're just a child.
Do you think they get a pass, or should they get a pass? Or do you think they are? We can start there. I think they are, or at least maybe not. They're not getting a pass, but again, like I said, I think they're being asked to be passed over because you can't go. Whoa, I mean, it's like that Barron shit all over again. But he even he's a good example of like, dude, this guy just came out of this goofball's fucking nutsack. Like,
waitress,
right, exactly. Like, I was just living in a fucking goofball's nutsack, and then I got shot into a fucking immigrant with big fake tits. Now I'm here, and I'm wearing goofy suits, and I'm sorry. And that you feel worse for him.
Yeah.
But a lot of people use that. He's a kid. There's certain boundaries. Do you feel like that applies here, or do you feel like it doesn't apply because, again, they're putting themselves in the public light where Barron this happens to be the seed.
It's not even, it shouldn't even be. I mean, I agree with that argument that Barron's a child, so fuck off. But like, also, Barron is a private citizen. Like that should be the argument.
Right.
He's a child. What was your question?
Just like, do you think these kids are being given a pass? It's like asked to be given a pass, and do you think they should? Like, do you think?
I don't think so because I think that David Hogg, I mean, he later was like, you have been treating my friends and you've been covering us unfairly, but like, he didn't respond with like, how dare you make fun of me? He responded with power. He was like, hey, here's advertisers, and then like,
well, then let's just
followers are the ones who started saying that.
I don't think we have a lot of. I don't think it seems like you're kind of taking it towards the second question, so maybe we should spend the most time on this part of the topic, which is, are we overusing the boycott? I put boycott in quotation marks. I feel like
this wasn't a boycott.
No, it was. I mean, I believe he said these are their advertisers using their products, but I think again, I didn't put boycott in quotation marks because he didn't. Not because it's not a boycott, meaning like you don't use the product, but I think, again, yes, I think the modern quote-unquote boycott, I feel like there's never any more boycotts. It's like boycott, but also make sure you tweet at them and like protest their restaurant. There's always, there's always ineffective stuff you can do along with the boycott, like tweeting and whatnot.
Well, I think that's more of what it is. That's why I felt on that word in quotations was interesting, just because it's like, yeah, I don't even think we boycott anymore, because how many of those people do you actually stopped using those products? You just tweet about it.
Probably
or like
some.
Yell at
it's
more of a PR thing. They need to not be associated.
Well, but it goes
with
back
that.
to like, what was it? People shooting their Curious because of hand or some shit. You remember that? I don't even remember what that was. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's always like, I feel like Chick-fil-A started it. Not saying it like, I feel like Chick-fil-A started the nonsense.
No, Walmart.
Overblown boycott. No, Walmart there was like a long fight over whether Walmart was good or not. It was kind of like a public consciousness battle. But I feel like Chick-fil-A was the first, like, they did this, do not eat their chicken. And then it was
That's true. And then like Hobby Lobby.
And then you get the reverse boycott. I think the modern boycott, stage 1, boycott. Stage 2, reverse boycott. Oh, I fucking hate gays and I love chicken. And then you tweet like a selfie of you just mashing a chicken sandwich in your face.
Not reverse boycott necessarily, but a backlash is what you mean.
Yeah, I'm going to call it reverse boycott.
Reverse boycott. Like reverse cowgirl, just reverse boycott.
So, I don't know. I just think, here's what I'll say.
I love that backward dick.
Let me just say this. It's like, the article I sent to you about this was Bill Maher defends Laura Ingraham after David Hogg tweet. And just not like this was anything super particular, but again, like I said, just a big topic. So this article is kind of covering what I'm thinking about. Just read it. But I did watch the episode in question, and he said, like, and he was kind of saying like, do we need? Is it okay? Are we boycotting too much? Like, you can't say anything, or people try to get off the air with like boycott these like basically like try to use this boycott or whatever you want to call it, attacking advertisers to get people after relatively kind of benign comments that are, her opinion. I don't think they're massively incendiary. And literally everyone on the panel was like, no, her free speech is her free speech, but a boycott is people's speech. So it's free speech for speech. And he was kind of getting like agitated. I kind of was too, meaning like, yes, and like, I feel like the sword cuts both ways and no one's realizing it. Like when dummies like this Laura lady say this stuff, people always say like, she's allowed to say it. That's what free speech is, but she don't have the right to be on TV. She don't have the right to have advertisers. That's private business. They're allowed to fire who they want. They're allowed to sponsor who they want. They can learn all their time who they want. That's not right. She could say it. Blah, blah. And it's like, I feel it's like the same thing for quote unquote boycotters. It's like, you have the right to not buy what you want. You have the right to tweet, you shouldn't buy this. Like,
Yeah.
But the thing is like, it's like we have no more barometer of importance in this country. And I just literally feel like one of the people on the panel during this Bill Maher topic. And again, it's just that they were all like, they can do it. It's like, we always see that, like, they can do it. And then always the counter from the other side. And depending on the topic, it rings more or less true. But an ounce of truth in, yeah, you can do it, but that doesn't mean you should do everything you are allowed to do. And I just feel like someone even brought up, like, said something like, yeah, the bus boycotts, that was free speech. That was black people making speech against blah, blah, blah. I thought someone brought that up. But either way, to me, that's what I think of as a boycott. It's a whole community or a whole constituency, a whole group of like-minded people,
yeah,
and they're boycotting someone like that. It's the municipal bus line. Like, you're boycotting an arm of the state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they're boycotting. Dove shampoo. I don't know. Maybe they probably also practices, and they probably have some nice bosses, some mean bosses, and their soap. Probably a lot of people like their soap. Oh, Dove helped my skin. Like, it's just this giant company with probably a record of good things and bad things, and most of all, they just make fucking soap and just put their commercials places where they think people that want soap will be watching. That's all they do. Whereas you look at something like the bus boycott, and you're like, there's a state-run institution, the municipal bus line, or I guess you would say city if it's municipal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're actively discriminating against a group of people, and it's emblematic of what's going on around the country, especially in that part of the country at the time. And it's like, that seems like a great place to not only make a statement, but make like a real life difference. Meaning, like, if you don't get our money, you won't have the money to fund this bus line for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, black people are kind of supporting this bus line. And unless you treat us, black people, fairly, there will be no bus line. So there's just a real life impact that the buses won't run. And also there's this real life statement that, like, this is a tool of the state, a state that has become oppressive, and it has oppressive practices in the specific arm of said state. We're not going to use it. Whereas this is like, fuck you. And I don't think Dove was even one of the sponsors, but whatever it is, Hertz or fucking, it's like, fuck you for sponsoring this trash. And it's like one of 8,000 things. And you can say, like, well, then they can do 7,999 things now. They don't have to sponsor. But it's like, I don't know. I feel it's a real, like, gun to a knife fight, these boycotts.
Well,
it's like,
that's an interesting analogy there. Speaking of guns,
I know.
That's what's lost in this conversation. I think that I mean, David Hogg, whatever, he's a kid, so I think. So, of course, he is going to retaliate in some way. And he showed his power in our collective
Which
stupidity.
is maybe why he shouldn't be leading this
right.
movement.
But I think that he shouldn't have even reacted to it, right? Like, whatever. He can do whatever he wants. And really, it wasn't him reacting to it. It was everyone else reacting to it that made this such a huge story. But now we're talking about Laura Ingraham Wilder and not not how can we get automatic rifles
And that's my
off
point.
the
I mean,
market,
is it? I mean, you made a good point just now that I didn't even think about. I mean, isn't it why 16-year-olds shouldn't be leading a movement? Is because they will eventually act childish and derail the movement. Like,
And it's not just 16. It's why someone like Laura Ingraham should also not be leading a movement because they're
but I don't think
idiots
she
who just are
is. Well,
posting on
clearly,
Twitter.
I'm not defending her as
I know
anything
you're not,
above
but
like a.
I don't think it's an age thing necessarily. I just think that there's this
But would you? I think
reactionary
there's
culture that we have, and that's what this
true,
story is about.
but I think that someone under the age of 18 is way more likely to be reactionary
Sure.
or make these kind of mistakes. And
Yes.
B, he's saying like he's on stage being like I have one of the fucking sires of truth and I'm bringing it to the nation. I mean, she knows she's just a dumb pretty blonde on the dumb pretty blonde network just spewing whatever, state-run propaganda is funneled through her to fucking through cue cards and fucking teleprompters. Like she know like you know what I mean? Like she doesn't I don't feel like I think she knows what she is. And I think he doesn't know what he is, which he's also being used as a prop. And I think that's why people like me who are not anti gun, are not pro gun, is who agree with the message the big old hogs of the world want to put out there, like agree with the sentiment, but yeah, I also can say that and be like, yeah, but I don't fucking give a fuck what you say in particular. It just so happens your beliefs line up with mine, but I don't fucking respect you, child. Because you see what you do, child. This fucking woman that most people don't even know her fucking name until you fucking put it on blast. And instead of how much better of a reaction would it have been?
Mm-hmm.
More adult, more proving everyone wrong that you aren't a child. Just she goes like, this kid's a fucking whiner. If he just tweeted back like, you know what? You can say whatever you want about me, but this is bigger than me. This is about all of us. So that's the end of that conversation. No. He made it about him, because this is his jock moment. This is his homecoming king moment. You know what I mean? Like you're still at an age where you care about that, and let's not act like the 18-year-old brain it's different and it cares about that stuff more. What did you just tell me? You said you had dinner with a friend of yours who just turned 30, and she's like, the best part about turning 30 is I just don't give a fuck anymore. And you, as a 32-year-old, were like,
it's
fucking totally. But 18-year-olds don't feel like that way. It doesn't make them worse people. Right. That's why I'm not critiquing him. I'm critiquing the notion that I'm not allowed to look at a 16-year-old and be like, hey, I agree with what you're saying because I happen to, but also fucking kind of suck my dick, bitch.
No, I don't necessarily think that, but I think that as a culture, we're just, I don't know. I think that we have evolved past the state of idolization, or we should, and we fucking need to. And that whole, like, it's funny seeing it all just play out, because I feel like when Donald Trump was elected, so many of us on the left were like, oh, he's just using you. You're, how could you fall for celebrity culture? And this, you made this guy a president without even thinking about it. And then, like, we get a leader who we think is, like, outstanding. And, oh, my God, she's bisexual and has a shaved head. Fuck yes, Emma Gonzalez. You know what I mean? And then we, like, idolize her and make her a hero. It really, I mean, not that I'm a religious person, but it reminds me of that Bible story about the fucking golden cow, right? Like that you're constantly putting up these sacred people, and then they're gonna get torn down because of course they will. And like it's just we culturally we're so past. There's just so much nuance and so much to choose from that I don't think we will ever have these people again of like a singular leader of a movement, right? Like there's not going to be a Martin Luther King Jr. There's going to be a Black Lives Matter movement, right? Like it's all of us together. And that's really powerful and awesome. And I feel like when you I feel like when you prop someone up as to be the hero, especially kids, like yikes. I don't know. I think that's alarming. Especially because then we're talking about them and not, I mean, like we're doing right now instead of the,
Well, it's also just fucking, it's so fucking asinine when people were like, I'm so proud of these kids because, adults weren't stepping up to the plate and now these kids, and it's like.
Get them, kids.
Are you fucking just, how fucking vapid are you that you don't think that after fucking, after Columbine, after fucking, yeah, Dylan Roof and the fucking theater and fucking all this stuff, like, you don't fucking think the Virginia Tech kid, I think, was another like big one, like in terms of like making it about guns and stuff. Like, you don't think there was adults trying to do fucking the parents of the Newtown kids?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, went to Congress, like cried in front of senators, and those same senators were like, "Yeah, we don't give a shit because you don't butter our fucking bread, and we're not gonna sit around eating dry toast. So I'm sorry your fucking kids have to die, but fucking I need a third yacht. I need fucking $10 million in cash shoved up my ass every day just to fucking come. Those are the people they're dealing with. So the
Right.
idea that like we haven't had weeping survivors and weeping parents and angry people and fucking sporting goods stores and all these these people have gone in front of the same fucking demons you are trying to go in front of,
Right.
and they failed, just like you'll fail. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I said. I mean, that's what's funny to me is people being like, seeing these 16-year-olds take on the system. It's inspiring. It's like, it's not that it's not inspiring, but the fact that you don't think that in 4 years, you could interview these people, and maybe not publicly, but if you talk to them privately, they'd be like, yeah, man, I was really fucking inspired when I was 18. And then now at 22, I realized the system is fucked and things will never change. And it's like, and me as a 32-year-old, 33-year-old is being like, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. I didn't hate you. I'm just trying to be honest. It's not going to work.
But
It never worked.
Don't you think though?
There's too much money. Everyone just thinks their haircut and their fucking olive green bomber jacket is going to make change. And it never has and it never will.
I do think there's a visual component to it that makes them has a part of what has catapulted them to this, right? But I don't know. I think that they kids who are their age who are going to be voters soon are listening to this. I feel like that's a positive, something that could make a change versus like, I know going to obviously that's proved not helpful at all, but they could be changing the minds of, or like at least influencing this next generation of voters. Do you not think that's true?
I'm going to, you know what? I'll go full on, not anger definitive statement.
Mm-hmm.
Very anti-Justin. But 2020, that's 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So any 16-year-old should be 18 by then. It's November 2020, end of the year. Most people that are 16 now should be 18 then. Let's see what the 18 to 22 demographic, let's see the percentage of voters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's usually not high. Let's see if there's a spike. Even if it's just this one election cycle, if there's a spike, I'll have a little faith. But again, it's what I always say. I'm not pessimistic. I'm not optimistic. I'm a betting man. So I'm not rooting against it. I'm not rooting for it. And I'm not even feeling one way or the other. But as a betting man, I would say that the 18 to 22-year-old demo, how they voted in the 2016 election, the percentage of total population that voted, I feel like it will be the same or less. That's what I'd put my money on in the 2020 election. So that's what I said. I'm not optimistic. I'm not pessimistic. I think that's what people wrongly kind of identify people as. Or that's what people are, and that's not the smart way to be. You should be a betting man or lady. And I'm just saying smart money is on these kids don't vote in 2 years when they can. And they don't.
Let's take that vote. Or let's take that bet.
Let's take that bet. What do we bet? We share money now, so it's not exciting.
I know.
Gotta be anal. Okay, so it's the only thing worth putting on the table
Can I peg
anymore.
you?
Yeah,
if
sure.
You're wrong. Nice.
I need a margin of error though. There needs to be a push area. So I would say 3% both ways is a push for both of us.
I don't know what that means.
So let's say that 40% of 18 to 22-year-olds voted in the election in 2016. That means we each get a 3% push both ways. So that means 43% to 40%, no one wins. Same with 37% to 40%, no one wins.
I see.
36% and lower, I win. 44% and higher, you win.
Okay.
Otherwise, no one wins. And both assholes stay relatively virginal. So, all right, yeah, I think it was a good topic.
Yeah.
We can talk about that a lot. I think we touched on a lot of different things. I think that there's a lot in that fucking topic. So I think we touched on a lot of it. So topic 2
No, it's
seems good
interesting.
too.
I
So
just think topic 1, yeah, the whole I do think it's exciting to see um anytime a victim reacts to something, cuz they survived something awful, and like anytime a victim is strong enough to come forward and say this was so bad, let's make this stop, I think is important and like special and inspiring, yes, but also I really have not gotten on this bandwagon because, like you said, they are.
let's
They
just be honest. Everyone said it. It's become hacky at this point. Once all those little kids at Newtown were killed, everyone was like, this has to be,
it has to change
it has
here.
to change. And again, not only the event, but the, what do you want to call it? The activism of the parents,
Yeah.
of the
Yes.
dead kids.
Yes.
Again, you can watch it on, I think there's like a documentary on PBS, like a Frontline maybe, or I mean, the parents, they talked to state officials, they
For
talked to
years.
federal
Yes.
officials, wrote letters, I mean, spoke in front of Congress. Like all the things these kids do or want to do, they did it. Again, like you said, are still doing it. And nothing.
I think
So
though. I
I
think what
don't
is different
know.
about this time though is that, or what I am theorizing that why this will be different is because it's more public, more people are paying attention to it. I feel like Sandy Hook maybe was just so fucking awful that like we just sort of tuned out, and then they had to sort of do the fight alone.
I don't know. I just, and it's just, I don't know.
There were marches. Kids quit school to go march.
I just, to me, that's my whole thing. Is I'm just like, all these kids will do is just find out why every fucking 33-year-old is as disillusioned as me. That's what they'll find out in the next 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, they won't find out that their voice is important. They will find out that their voice is meaningless. And that's not me hating on them. That's me just being like, dude, who wasn't 18 and thought they could change the world? And how is the world now in your 30s? Exactly the fucking same? Maybe slightly worse? Maybe more dead brown people and a couple more married gay couples? That's, I mean, little this, couple of omelets, broken eggs. I don't know, Jackie.
Well,
I'm just
it's
saying, like, yeah, the world's better, but you're not changing it. They'll give you just enough red meat to keep you satiated.
I don't know. I think the world has changed, and you can change it, but it's granular. It's not these epic sweeping changes, and I don't know what's lost in when we like think about, again, like I was talking about, like these idols of our past movements, right? Like even like our founding fathers, you see that line of thinking in how we immortalize them and their beliefs, right? But all these superheroes of movements, I think it's easy in hindsight to like boil it down to like they did these three things and then they were super famous and changed the world. Like it was years, a lifetime of work and changing and like just foot on the ground working to change stuff, right? And like smart thinking, all this stuff. It's not going to change rapidly. And also, like, most of us won't be those people. Like, it happens when I'm nice to you, I change the world for a better place, right? Because I'm creating a kinder environment in my life. When I'm respectful to the person on the street who cuts me off, but still stand up for myself. You know what I mean? Like having these interactions with each other that are still respectful, but I don't know. That's how you change the world. I guess that's my disillusioned 32-year-old self, though. That's like, yeah, none of that shit is worth my time anymore because that's not helping. In fact, I feel like it's making it worse because we concentrate on the wrong things, just like this story. Like now we're in a tweet war with Laura Ingraham Wilder, and we don't. What's her name? Laura I. Ingraham.
I think it's just Laura Ingraham.
Okay.
Where'd you get Wilder from?
I'm thinking of Laura Ingalls Wilder.
That's what I was saying.
I did it first as a joke, and then now it's just in my head. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't want any part of that. I don't want to do that. I will vote if you can, but like,
I won't even do that.
I don't think we're all, again, it's sort of like, okay, so in my mid-20s, I thought about how I wanted a new career because journalism kind of sucked and it wasn't what I thought it would be. And I was like, I want to fucking help people. So I thought about going into nursing, right? And then, like, I looked into nursing and I'm like, I would be a terrible nurse. You know, like if someone needed medication, she didn't want to take it, I'd just be like, she said she didn't want to take it, so I don't know. Like there, I would be terrible at it. This is my skill is writing. I had to find a way to make that work to make things better in its own way, right? I feel that way with activism and like, I feel like there's a lot of social pressure to be outspoken all the time and be at these boycotts and protests and tweets and be a Emma Gonzalez celebrity fist up, McFist up. That's what she said.
Shaved head McFist up.
But I just don't. I think I don't know. I feel like there's a message that's being lost here of like you can change the world in a way that is best for you. Like how like that's what I think we should teach these kids too, not just like use this hashtag, we'll start a movement. Like how who are you, and like be self-aware of what your skill set is and what you're good at, and how can you change your everyday life so that the ripple effect is wider, right? Like again, it's all about being part of a collective whole versus oh, I sound like a fucking socialist, right? Versus like an icon. And that I feel like that's why I don't like this like idolizing these kids. It's why I don't like any of that, because I'm like, I feel like we're past the Gloria Steinems, we're past the Martin Luther King Juniors. We don't live in that kind of culture anymore where that kind of thing can happen. The facilitation that has to happen is so internal and with like a group, you know what I'm saying?
I think that is the problem, though. I mean, that's what I was gonna say before. I brought this up, I think, on the podcast before, where I think like the most detrimental thing to ever happen to our society and most of all our generation, as far as how and our effect in the social activism, part of being a member of society is, I think it's just so. I think Occupy Wall Street was just devastating.
Why?
I think it was devastating to social activism for our generation. I think it set it back, and I think the only chance is the next. I think our generation just blew it on that front. And I think there's a lot of things. I stand up for our generation a lot, but I don't think we'll have any social activist wins, and I don't think we have.
What is it about Occupy Wall Street?
It's because it was that. It was, let's all get in a park. All right, you got everyone in a park. What is it now? Who's the leader? There is no leader.
Oh, because it was
what are the things we want to do? We want to do anything anyone wants to do. That's important. And it's like, no, motherfucker. It's one person leading it, and it's a clear focused vision for, especially.
Sure, but like a reasoned voice that has been in this for a long time. That's why Obama happened, because he was the leader, right? Like he was one voice for us. I don't think an 18-year-old who's just survived something traumatic is.
Yeah, that's what. No, I agree, but I'm just saying that the whole notion that there can't be a singular leader anymore, I don't think there can't, and I don't think there shouldn't. I think there for sure should. I don't think there has been a good one on any of these issues. I think the Black Lives Matter movement doesn't have one that I really think is great. I don't think anything in the gun. But honestly, I don't think there's anything conservative that has any great leaders really either. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be a lot. There seems to be like a lot of people that just talk and have opinions, right, which used to be the realm of the entertainer, but now it seems to be the realm of that. Like my point is again, it was like, I don't know. It just feels like the civil rights movement. There always was something, right? Like, again, like that whole bus boycott. It was a boycott of the bus. Why are you boycotting the bus? Because we want to sit on the bus wherever we want. It was a bus boycott about bus issues. But, it was always about like, we want to vote, or we want this, or we don't want that. And that represented the message of equality, but it was all that message was all focused in on one, like a piece of legislation. Even if that legislation didn't cover everything in writing, it was the spirit. So that's my whole thing about like, we're occupying Wall Street. It's like, that's a whole street, motherfucker. That's a whole giant realm of business that incorporates hundreds and thousands of companies, hundreds of thousands of employees. And it's like, to me, you should have, you know what I mean? Like, you should have, what's that? Glass-Steagall, is that the one where the banks can trade, like investment, or what is it, like like money banks can trade in. They used to not be able to trade in like investment, and then they switched it where they could, and that's how we got in the situation where we were, where like these big banks used to not be able to invest, and now they're investing. Like again, like, but I just remember, I don't remember what it is now because I'm fucking stupid, but like I just remember that was brought up a lot. That was a big reason why 2008 happened. That was one of the reasons, because these, but again, and people were saying it should be overturned. Why not just have one guy be like, that's our first thing. We're not doing any other things until everyone in this park gathers around this idea, and we're doing is coming up ideas of how we can get this act overturned. So we're gonna do letter writing campaigns, we're gonna do phone calls, we're gonna do marches, we're gonna do sit-ins, we're gonna do whatever. But this is the thing. All those things I just talked about, this is the thing. But it was about anything that's important to you, bro. And then just a bunch of people talking about fucking the evils of corporation, tweeting it out on their iPhone, and playing fucking volleyball in the park. And it was just dumb.
Yeah.
It was just fucking dumb, and it ruined political activism forever, for a generation, I think, at least. I think it was so, and it was just,
I think,
to me, it's extra sad because you got everyone together. You mobilized everyone, and then you're like,
yeah, but I think you're wrong, though, because I think that you see that now in a way that worked with the Me Too movement. You got everyone together, but on like a new platform, it's virtually, and your virtual self is now a person, basically. And so you've had that was a collective movement that started from one individual.
Okay, but what would you say that the goal, and I mean like a tangible goal, is of the Me Too movement?
Well, that's the thing, Justin, is that then the Me Too movement then led to, what, have you read about the Time's Up campaign in Hollywood? They have a bullet point list of what they want to see, how they're going to do it. It's very thought out. I think.
What do they want to see, though? Is there a law?
I mean, it's like, no, but they're in Hollywood. That's not what they're trying to do, Justin.
It's what no one's trying to do anymore.
It's like, well, the best example you probably heard of is the inclusion rider that Frances McDormand talked about.
That's dumb. I don't think that's smart. I don't think.
I know, but you're asking for tangible fucking things they want to do.
That's true.
Justin,
they do have it.
Okay, whether you think it's dumb or not, they are making movement. I just saying. I just feel like sometimes you're so contrarian.
Everyone wants to be shaved head McFist up, and it's the same thing. They all want to wear black to the award show. They all want to shout "Time's Up." They all want their and now the all male director nominees or whatever. They all want their quip, and that's all they fucking want. I'm just saying, for me, what was it in Detroit when they signed that legislation in the state legislature? I think it was in Detroit, that they were mandating the testing of all their backlog rape kits. I mean, that's so unsexy, but to me, I'm like, you have just helped the rape survivor community. You help them with a law that is enforceable, that it's gonna get a thing done by the law that will help people that survived, and will also, make it easier for anyone in the future to get help.
Well, I think that's the Time's Up campaign. They are raising money for a fund that will help women who are suing people more powerful than them for sexual harassment. Do you not think that's how laws get made, or how things can change?
It's not bad.
That could be a step toward it. I just think you're thinking too narrowly about how these changes, legal changes, can happen.
I feel like in about 5 years it's going to come out that Time's Up is the new Susan B. Komen.
Susan G. Komen.
Susan G. Komen.
Susan B. Komen. You were so close.
Susan B. Komen. And I think it's going to just turn out that 80% of that money is probably going to pay out everyone that works for the charity. 20% is going to, the legal help for these women. And 19% of that 20% went to this one single case. And there's probably, I don't know, fucking Renee Zellweger is going to get her pussy grabbed, and all the money's going to go to her. And then you're going to have some, commercial, some commercial actress that gets gang raped on a casting couch, and no one's going to care. Because it's not newsworthy, it's not sexy. You can't wear a dress a certain color to protest it. And so you can say, yeah, that is helpful, and that's how things, but That's why something like laws and acts and I don't know, things like that just it feels more real
Right.
because it's just the fucking thing. It's just the thing. To me a thing would be, you know what I mean, like in California, right? A big amount of your fucking all these studios have offices in California and blah blah blah. Why not say, why not petition that there's a law that just like hate crimes, right? There's a hate crime statute, right? You do a crime, if it's a hate crime, it just attaches on thing. Why not saying, okay, if in the state of California, if you get charged with a sexual crime, if you work for an entertainment company and we make you register as an entertainment company, if you register as an entertainment company and and you're an employee and you get charged with a sex crime and it was from somebody in the company of lower stature than you or someone that did not work for the company and was seeking employment from the company, is an extra 2 years towards your sentence. Or you have to register as a sex offender even if your thing gets thrown out. Well, actually, that sounds really bad.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Something. Then it's like then you're not donating money and not knowing where that money's going. You don't have this private enterprise run by who? Selma Hayek? That gets to decide where the money goes. You got, oh, I think the money should go here and maybe a little here. You know what I mean? Like, it's so muddy when it's like, if we're saying the problem is that Hollywood producers are fucking actresses and using their power to hold that over them, why not make that more punishable? Why not address that specifically? Instead of just saying, you can say it's bullet pointed, but sure, you can put things in a bullet point, but you can, if it's a general statement, then it doesn't matter that a bullet point is before it. It doesn't matter that's a part of a list if you're just saying, like, we're going to give it to women to help out, you know what I mean? To help out women. What women? What women? Like, how do you get that money? How much money are you allowed to get? What crimes and what lawsuits and what? Like, it seems just so fucking vague. And then people are just throwing money at it.
Well, it's just starting, Justin. I don't know. I feel
it's starting and it's finishing in the same fucking breath. And it's a non-starter for me. I don't think it matters at all. And I'm not saying do nothing. I'm just saying stop doing this. We do not need another nonprofit. The world needs another nonprofit.
Yeah.
Like it needs another Whole Foods or another Starbucks. We got fucking plenty. And I don't know. We got 20 million nonprofits, fighting against hunger. Yet there's still people walking down the streets of Chicago in the middle of traffic asking for a quarter. Now, how is that possible? Is it possible because maybe a large percent of the money isn't funneling to that guy that needs a sandwich? And I think it's going to be the same people getting fucking pooned by producers in Hollywood. I don't think they're going to be seeing enough of the money.
Sure.
And I think
that's why you see the trend going toward more social entrepreneurship. That's where we're not going to have nonprofits soon. That's where it's going to go.
What do you mean? Sorry.
Social entrepreneurship, where where
the new business is to just start a charity.
No.
Oh, is that not what you're saying?
No.
What is social entrepreneurship?
The opposite. Social entrepreneurship is where you have a business that does good, right? Like Tom's is a good example. The chicken place in Columbus, Ohio, they hire convicts or people who were in prison, give them a job to work in their restaurants, right? Like because that's a social problem, is that hiring, or once they leave jail they can't find work, no one wants to hire them. This company, part of their program is that they hire ex-convicts, right? And like you are taking care of a social problem, right? Because now you're giving them a job. So more and more businesses are focusing on that, and that's what people want to support, right? Like, again, you vote with your money. I think it's leaning toward that. And again, and that's what I'm trying to say, of that, like, it's such an individual experience. Not like, I don't mean that we don't need leaders. Of course we need leaders. But there are people who are really good at that who should be our leaders. And we need to be smart about who we pick to do those things. Not Salma Hayek, not Emma Gonzalez. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who is a civic leader who has been working at this for a long time and is really smart that we can prop up, right? But I think that, again, what I'm talking about individually is like that. Like, if you're a person who is a business owner and you want to start a business, like, what kind of social problem can you at least fucking put a drop in the bucket to help with? Is it hiring these people? Is it donating one of your things if when you buy one? Like, what is it? And that is where the business world is going. There's
Yeah, I don't
more.
care. We gotta move on to topic 2. We've gone this way too long. We're
Okay,
at
topic
an hour.
2. This will be quick, just like suicide.
If you do it right.
So Hawaii became the latest liberal-leaning state to legalize medically assisted suicide.
Whoop, whoop.
Last week, the governor signed a measure into law allowing doctors to fulfill requests for terminally ill patients to prescribe life-ending medication. And so there's a lot of, I mean, before your hackles flare up, dear listeners, there's a lot of law. The law has a lot of safeguards to prevent abuse, right? Like 2 healthcare providers are required to confirm a patient's diagnosis. A counselor must determine that the patient isn't suffering from conditions that may interfere with decision making. The patient must make 2 oral requests for a life-ending medication with a 20-day waiting period in between, signing requests, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of, they basically
Well, the waiting period for a gun is only 72 hours, so you always have that option. USA.
So, wait, but I didn't realize there were so many. So, Hawaii's heavily Democratic lawmakers approved the legislation late last month. The state,
very heavy.
The state joins.
Get it?
Oh, no.
Because they're like Hawaiian. They're big Samoan people.
Oh.
Come on, that was a good job.
The state joins California, Colorado, Oregon, Vermont, Washington State, and the District of Columbia in allowing the practice. I guess I didn't realize so many states allowed it.
Yeah, there's a decent handful. It's not as good as marijuana, but it's creeping up.
Yeah, like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? I think it's fucking awesome, right? I think that you should have a choice in this, especially if you are mentally competent and in a terrible amount of pain.
God willing, this is how we should all go out. We should get to live the amount of life we want to and we are able to. And then we should get to.
Could you do that? You could medically.
I mean, it's scary because it's death, and death is fucking frightening to me.
Yeah.
But the inevitability of it, that's what kind of just clears my head. And it's not. I'm not saying my head is even clear. I mean, I think about it and it scares me because it's death. But, yeah, to me, it's the least scary though of a fucking scary thing. And I think that's what, again, when people just have to. Just keep reaching in and keep digging inside themselves and realizing, like, you're scared of dying. Everyone's scared of dying. But
yeah.
but imagine you're just out running fucking errands. You're out picking out some fucking turnip greens from the fucking grocery store, and then you're like, I think my fucking.
That's a weird choice.
I don't know. Greens. I gotta fucking feel like I can't suck in air, and then you kind of start to get dizzy, and then like. You fucking just fall over. You're like, I'm in pain and I'm scared and my wife's leaning over me and she's crying and that's my last 10 seconds on this earth. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you want. You know what I mean? Like, and you're religious and you're a person of peace and love and wanting everyone to be joyous. And that's how you want people to go out. You know, that's the preferred way to go out instead of in a bed, just kind of dozing off into a nap. And then you just don't come out of it. Like it sounds like amazing. Just knowing, just be like, okay, today's the last week. Let's do some cool shit. Let's say some goodbyes. Let's wrap this up. Like life is just a business transaction. Let's end it on a fucking handshake. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think I could do it. Not because of that. I mean, of course I'm afraid of dying. Who isn't? Really though, it's I spent 18 years being terrified of hell. Like, I'm just scared enough of that in that I don't know what comes next. I know I believe that probably nothing, or at least my past lives seem the most realistic to me. So maybe I go on to something else and search you out in my next life. But like, that's also terrifying. And that's actually more terrifying than a lot of things. I feel like that's its own kind of hell, right? Because what if I'm born something awful? But hold on, what I'm trying to say is I don't know. But then again,
you just keep killing yourself till you get a good life.
I don't think I could do it personally. But I also, here's the whole fucking point though, I have never been in an excruciating amount of pain for a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Basically,
And that's what the point is here is like these you should be allowed to have I don't know what that's like.
So you're taking
I shouldn't make
right.
that decision for you.
So
You should be allowed to make
you're
that
taking
decision.
this sensible approach that everyone should be taking on issues like this, but for some reason in this country no one wants to take, which is I can't tell you what to do with your own life. Regardless
Right.
of regardless of what I think of it.
Because I don't know what your situation is like. I don't
Yeah.
know what it's like to be in that amount of pain and be dying anyway. Like, yeah, you should, if you think that's right for you, you should do that. Here's the thing though. Here's where I think it gets tricky that I was thinking about this morning, where like, so this is sort of like with abortion, where there's all this fight over, you know, medical providers who don't want to sell birth control, for example, even that. And I think that's really wrong. You should not be allowed to use your religion as an excuse to not provide health care like birth control and family planning methods to these people, because you're in power at that point, right? Like, you're the person who can get them the medicine they want and need. Is that the same with this? I don't know. Like, because suicide is such a like religious thing to some people, and it's a fully formed body, right? Like, it's a human being. Should they be allowed to have a religious right to say, I can't provide you with that medication? Is that different from I maybe, because the birth control is like, you know, that's my everyday health care, right? Where this is like a life-ending decision. I don't know.
But
Do you know what I mean? Do you see where those complications can come in?
But no, because the thing the thing that I never understand about suicide is the idea of being against someone killing themselves only makes sense if death is not inevitable.
No, not that they're against them committing suicide. It's that they would then feel like they're participating in murdering someone.
Who cares?
They do.
What, you mean like the doctor?
Yeah, or like a pharmacist of like, it doesn't matter.
I don't think it fucking. Who cares? You're a doctor. You
Mhm.
know about medicine.
Yeah.
You don't know about ethic. That's not what your degree's in. You know what I mean? If someone wants something, you kind of give it to them.
Mhm.
That's your fucking job. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think like. I don't know. To me, it's a solution. To me, it should be taught as a solution. To me, if you're a doctor that doesn't believe in it's a solution, I just think you're wrong. Because I don't think that any amount of medical training gives you a one-upmanship in moral and ethics. And it's kind of like you said, like if someone says like, I have a sore throat, and then give you some medicine to make your throat go away, they've done their job.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone says like, I want to diminish my amount of life to 0, then they go, here's a medication that can do that. Thank you. You have solved my problem.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is life, and you've cured me of it. Thank you. You know what I mean? I don't know what the moral is there.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. I'll just never understand people's preoccupation with suicide. I'll never understand it. It's so weird to me. It's just like I can't even talk about it sometimes. I'm like,
don't you think it's just so primal? Like it's such a thing that is inside of us to keep each other alive, because your survival is directly related to my survival, or at least it used to be.
I just don't understand how you were born with no choice. 2 people have sex and make you from nothing. And then now you just exist.
Mm-hmm.
And you're brought into existence with no choice. And you have no choice to take yourselves out of this existence for any reason. There's no reason good enough for most people to take yourself out of this existence that you were not asked to be brought into. Not given any choice in any of the circumstances you're brought into, any of the genetics you are passed down with, anything. And you're just expected to deal with it until it just leaves your body naturally, which could be tomorrow, it could be in 50 years, it could be whenever. I'll never understand people's preoccupation with that. It just seems so. You can talk about primal. Primal goes back a million years. I'm talking about natural,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that goes back to, in this country, 200 years ago. And it's It's individual rights, and the most individual rights is the sovereignty of your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with drugs. It's
Yeah.
my body. If I get in a car after drinking, that affects other
Your
bodies.
body.
That's
Yeah.
against the law. But
Yeah.
I should be able to fucking pound as much poison into my own body as I
Sure.
want to.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. And the same thing, with all these laws.
Right.
I mean, and again, even though it's more financial, and I think there's other factors. All the factors I think lean towards legalizing it. That's how I feel about prostitution. You're telling me I can't take dicks into my body because I charge for it, but I could take free dicks. It's my body.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I'm consenting to the dicks coming in, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you stopping me? And I think it's the same thing with suicide. Why are you stopping me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in the end, if you're worried about your cousin or your brother or your wife or your grandma or whoever, I don't know how basic it is, how more obvious it could be that if you have the attitude that I have towards suicide, you're way more likely, even in someone's most depressed and unstable mind state, you're more likely than not. I'm not saying it's 100% a solution, but you're way, way more likely than not to have that person call you and be like, I think I'm going to kill myself. Because they know you're not going to come with them with a like, never, no, because then there's no understanding. So they're going to just feel more pressured.
Mm-hmm.
If they know you understand, plus, wouldn't you feel better again? Like, how many people just kill themselves in private, in quiet, and then you don't get to say that last "I love you," or take them out on that last little, whatever, fucking dinner or whatever. How nice would it be if someone's like, "Look, I know you're gonna be sad. I know you're not gonna want it, but I'm a fucking grown up. I'm a fucking lucid human being with inalienable rights, and I was not asked to be brought into this existence, and I'm choosing to take myself out. But I'm going to do it a week from tomorrow, so let's get together. You're going to be sad. You're going to be like, no, but don't. And they're going to be like, it's not about you. It's about me. But isn't that better that you at least get to say goodbye? Or the reason most people probably, I'm sure that there's a lot of mental illness and stuff where you're in a different mind state and you're not thinking clearly. I know that happens. So I'm not ever saying every suicide is a blessing. But again, also this preoccupation, we've talked about this before, this preoccupation, like, well, if someone has cancer and it's terminal and they're like a week away from dying anyways, okay. But then there's this thing about, but what if someone's just depressed? It's like, but what if you are clinically depressed? You've talked to people, you've taken medicine, and just, I mean, you know what depression is like. I think there's a lot, I know what it is. But for me, it lasts a couple days, and I have mostly good days. The bad days are bad, but when I always kind of empathize with these people, it's like, I extrapolate my 48 hours of bad to what if this was my every waking moment?
Time. Oh, well,
You don't take
OCD twins just killed themselves, and
you don't take mental pain seriously.
Yeah.
So that's my point. If someone's like, "Are you sure you're not just depressed?" If someone's like, they should be able to be like, "I am depressed,"
and that's
but
why.
it's chronic.
Yeah.
It's chronic and it's ongoing and it's never gonna leave. And I've tried, and just like some forms of fucking, pancreatic cancer, it's not curable. It's treatable, but it's not curable, and it's ruining my life, and it's going to take me out eventually. I'm just going to, in this moment of clarity, I'm going to do it myself.
I'm
going to save myself
there's
some
something
pain.
so there's something so loving, I think, and beautiful about caring for another person and giving them the tool to do it not so violently too. Do you know what I mean? Like, take some pills, be with your family, go to the other side.
I know I bring him up way too much.
Carmichael show?
No, that was good.
That was good
too. But real life, I know I bring this
Doug
up.
Stanhope.
Yeah,
those were the two things I wanted to bring up. Yeah.
I know I bring him way too much.
No,
but
this is a good one.
He is like just like a modern genius. Like,
totally.
It's crazy how good he is. But he has that bit based on what really happened about his mom committing suicide and him kind of like throwing a party for it.
Yeah.
And like
she took pills, right?
Yeah. And I was just like, I felt the same. I was like,
that joke is beautiful. I think that it just
there's so
him recounting that story.
Love in that
so
joke.
much love. Yes.
You can tell how much he loves his mother in that joke. I think to me that's what makes it like, I guess like I know people say this, but I've never had this happen, and I think fucking I think people that say they've had this happen are over exaggerating the moments. I just can't find another piece of art like this. If you think there's something like this out there, fucking tweet at me or whatever, because I just don't think there's any other art that could ever do this where I'm literally like laughing. It's the funniest thing I have ever heard. Like I'm laughing out loud. It's a funny joke. And towards the end of it, or at little moments in
Like
it,
weeping.
I get teary eyed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's so touching. But it is also very funny. And the balancing of those emotions, I'm just like, this is genius. This is a work of genius.
Google it, guys.
But
Doug
also
Stanhope
just
talking about his mom's suicide.
and then that's why he wrote about it. His book, Digging Up Mother, which was like his. He has a new one out called "This Is Not Fame."
Did you read it?
I have not read it, but it's about his mother.
Okay.
So I think he talks about her life, and
I have a question.
but he has that story in it, and I think it's just again like it's the whole thing. It's like why shouldn't we all go out like that? I mean, some of us are going to get hit by buses. Some of us are going to just keel over.
It should be an option.
Keel over from a heart attack.
Again, like you said,
again, not
it's
even
as simple
an
as the fact
option.
that like it's my body.
But not even an option. That should be the dream. That should be the like, well, if I don't fucking just keel over from a heart attack, if I don't die in an airplane crash, if I don't have some freak, golf ball incident or however all these goofy ways people die, if I make it to 80 and I start to kind of go mentally or physically, God willing, I'll be able to throw a little suicide party. That should be like part of the American dream, is that you make it to the point that you've beat out accidents and healthcare spoofs, and you've made it to the end where you see the dip coming and you have a big party, you do a couple bucket list items, and then that should be the fucking dream. Not the nightmare.
So
the nightmare is the just out of nowhere. That's the nightmare.
No, I think the nightmare is being young and depressed and killing yourself so violently. That's a nightmare. But I was just wondering, like, would you, like, I don't know, I feel like these are conversations couples have of, like, would you want me to kill you?
Totally. We've already talked about this, right?
But not on air.
The dog rule. I think the dog rule, everyone should have the dog rule.
What's the dog rule?
Heard someone talking about putting their dog down. That's something we do, right? But it's something we do. Again, we love our dogs. We love them. We love them with all our hearts. But we put them down. When they get sick, when they get old, we put them to sleep, right? And we think of it as an act of kindness.
Mercy.
The same way we should think about it with our fucking grandparents. It's an act of kindness. I've been doing this new fucking joke about it because I was like, I would like to have my life. I'd like to have the end of my life like a dog's end of life, rather than a grandparent's end of life. Because, and it's no surprise that dogs have better ends of life because we actually love our dogs. But it's like, but it is a big decision, right? Like, how do you know? And I heard someone kind of talking about, they had to recently put down their dog, and they were like talking to a vet, and they were like, how do we know when it's time? Like, the dog's old, but it still can get around. Like, we don't want to put it down too soon. That seems cruel, but to wait too long seems cruel. What's the barometer? And the vet said, list your dog's 3 favorite things to do. And when it can only do one, it's time to put them down. And I think it should be the same for people. And so that's why I've told you and given you permission, and now it's recorded. Talk, eat, fuck. When I'm down to 1, take me out.
When you're just fucking.
If I'm just fucking and I can't eat or fucking shoot the shit. So, yeah. And fuck/come.
But see, I
so
feel
if
like
you're still just jerking me off, that counts as fucking. If I can't move, but I can come.
I'm going to be like, put him down. I'm a free lady.
I can still come. I can't fuck, but I can still come. I got this feeding tube in, but we can still crack jokes and come. Not yet.
I don't know if I could do it. I mean, I would because I love you. But I don't think I would ever want you to do that to me.
I know.
But I think that's important. Here's the thing, though. I think it's really important that we have that conversation with each other. I feel like I feel like so many people just are left with this awful decision to have to make, or no decision to make, because you don't know what the person wants, and so you just do nothing, or you're just riddled with guilt or unease about whatever decision you did make.
My mom's talked to me about it. and she's getting older, so we should probably clarify. And I think she has some specifics in her will, but she's always been open about it when I was younger, and she gets more open about it. But I really should ask her specifics. But she's always been pro, like.
Well, you do it in your will, right? Or like, don't you
I
have like
think
end of life
something
agreements or something?
But I should just ask her.
Yeah.
But she has been pretty clear about. In general, she leans towards just let me fucking go. She's always been pro let me go. Like if I'm on life support, like cut it off.
Yeah.
You know?
Vegetative state, get it out. I'm ready to go. Get me out of here.
Yeah. But she's also her mom, my grandma, had a really horrific end of life because her mind started to go, but she was very healthy physically. So, she lived with dementia for like a decade.
Jeez.
And then it was dementia that killed her. And I mean, again, horrific death. I mean, if your heart doesn't cave out
it's a 10-year
before dementia, I mean, first of all, you're losing your mind for 10 years and you're fucking scared and angry and all that shit. But the swelling in your brain eventually like closes off your throat and you can't eat. So you just wither away or you just choke to death. Like you just can't breathe and you just choke to death. But that's how you die if you don't just die of like most people, again, like don't live old enough to die from dementia. They die of something else. But it's a horrific death. And again, like my mom hasn't talked about suicide.
Is that what killed her? Did she
she's
starved?
She's starved, choked to death. Just really painful and sad,
that's really sad.
But yeah, it's just it's the saddest shit you've ever heard in your life. And that's more when I know my mom, if my mom was ever on life support, I would give her like a week, because sometimes people pop out. But I just know she wouldn't want. She's always expressed that. But I think because, again, my mom is very healthy. The women on that side of the family live very long and don't necessarily, like my great grandma lived to be, I think, 102. And always had her wits about her the whole time. And my grandma didn't start to, I think she started to get dementia like in her early 80s, maybe like late 70s or something like that. So, I mean, she lived a pretty long regular life.
Yeah.
So, but I just think she sees that possibility of like mind not outlasting body because she is in her 60s and in good health. And her mind is fine now. But again, my point is, I feel like she has kind of like lightly broached the subject of like, I don't know what I would do if I started to lose my mind, but my body was still there. And that's why I would kind of be like, I'd kill you, bro. I love you. Like, again, it's like you said, I feel it's like loving. I'd be like, yeah, I'd kill you. I would never, I mean, I wouldn't do it without her permission, obviously, but I would want to know before she couldn't give permission. Because to me, again, if she really wanted to, again, it's like you said, you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. But to me, if she gave me any permission and I had any say, I would not let her die like my grandma died. And maybe she'll just live to be 102 and travel the world up until like the last couple of weeks like my great grandma did. But I don't, you never know. So that's what I'm saying though. Like I would never want to do what my grandma had to go through, and I would never want someone I cared about to go through that. Could I kill you if it's getting bad like that? If you're like 80?
Yeah, that's the thing is I feel like this will shift as I get older.
I told you if we were if we were over the age of 70.
Yeah, dementia and Alzheimer's is
like
awful
I told you
because
before.
I think
if we were over
that's so brutal on the people who love them, and like you said, it's just that person is gone
like I
long
said,
before.
If we were over the age of like 80 or even 70, 73 maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
I would just say if you were gonna go out and I was in perfect health, mental and physically, I'd probably just go out with you.
Oh, you'd be like when what culture is it where the poor little wife would have to be murdered when the husband died?
Oh.
She'd have to
I would just
go on the funeral pyre.
We could just sit in the car and turn it on.
You'd be like that for me.
I told you we'd just sit in the car, we'd put our song on the radio on repeat, and we just start it in the garage. And we just fall asleep next to each other.
I'd want some pills, maybe. Well, yeah, just sleeping and dying. I don't know. I don't think I could ever I don't want to. I just. It's so scary to me. Well, let's talk about it in 30 years. We'll see where we're at.
Okay. Let's hope I can make it that long. That's why I'm saying, like, for me, like, I don't want to die. It scares the shit out of me on a daily basis. It is the major fucking anchor of my anxiety. But again, like, thinking about committing suicide as an old man, like, it makes me happy. It excites me because I'm like, then I've made it to an old man, and I'm kind of going out, kind of with all my eggs in a row. Like, all right, I wanted to do that. I wanted to set this up. I wanted to make sure this was set for a child or for my wife if you're there or whatever. This is all set with the
Tie
bank
up all the
and
loose ends.
tie up all the loose ends. One more cool tweet and then get rid of that account and whatever it is, just set it all up and and again, like, I'm an old man. No, I've lived a long life. Hopefully I've accomplished some things. Like, that's what scares me most of, like, just being 52 and being like, I feel like things are going good this week and I got that meeting next week. And then again, I'm the guy buying the fucking turnip greens and I'm just like, and it's just over on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide at 80, it's low on, it's scary because death's scary, but it's really low on the list of scary. To me, it's a celebration. It should be thought of as lucky that you got to make it to the suicide age, To me, it should be more that again, if we're gonna, I think everyone should have the right to do it, but I'd rather have it be like an age limit, like after, once you're collecting Social Security, at 63 or whatever, feel free whenever you're ready to go. There should be like a hotline where those deliver fucking morphine by the 60 pack right to your door.
Oh my god.
All right, topic 3. So this is in Northeast Ohio, baby, in Youngstown. They have...
This is such a Youngstown story.
I know. They have reports of zombie raccoons. I'll just read this one snippet of the article. It's like this article, it's an NPR article, but there's a transcript of an interview with the person that saw these zombie raccoons. He had this characteristic of standing up on his hind feet. He would show his teeth, and then he would just fall over backwards. And then he would be comatose for a matter of, 2 or 3 minutes. Then he would come to, walk around a little bit, and then he would do the same thing all over again. So, my question for topic.
What? That's so weird. What is it? Did they figure it out?
I don't know. The article said that this guy in Youngstown has 5 dead raccoons in his freezer, and he's sending them over to the Department of Agriculture for testing. So,
Youngstown, that's awesome. I love it.
So yeah, they don't have any
conclusions yet.
Not that I see. It's funny.
Or other people
Can I tell you this funny thing?
Guy?
I think it's just this guy. But it says there's a transcript. I wonder if this is from It's probably from an NPR show where they interview this guy. But it's just funny. They have the transcript of like a name, colon, and then what they said. Like but it's just funny. I don't know. It just seems so like irrelevant. I guess it's a transcript, but it's just like, okay, I don't know what this adds. But literally at the very end of the transcript, just in parentheses, it just says soundbite of the Raconteur song, "Steady as She Goes." It's like, okay. Why would I care that you...
Oh, do you know what that is for?
Attribution?
No, accessibility laws for things where, like, if someone who is deaf is reading this, you put things like that in so that they get a full view of the
Deaf
story.
People don't even know what music is.
Like
bro.
with the someone could have heard that and then lost their hearing, but like you have to put. You have to make sure certain color, like the readability of your site is good enough for people who have trouble seeing, or there's other accessibility things like having, what's the fucking called where, like, you have a cat, like if you hover over a photo, it's got to say what the thing is in case, I don't know.
Okay.
In case that, like, someone who is blind, the thing is reading it to you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So what?
That was a long
it was good.
explanation. But
What
that's
animal would you hate most to see a zombie version of? If there was a little zombie animal outside your front door, what would you hate for it to be?
Any kind of fucking bug.
Ooh, you want
Any
little.
Zombie bug would, oh my god.
Like a zombie centipede?
Dude, think about a zombie fucking spider. Because at least bugs are awful and terrifying right now, but like at least they're not, like, most of them aren't coming for you. The ones that are, we're either are manageable, like mosquitoes, or like you can steam out of your house, like bed bugs. But like imagine a centipede is lusting for your blood and it's coming for you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, awful.
I kind of went small too, even though something like a zombie bear might be like that thing in fucking
Annihilation?
Arrival or Annihilation.
Yeah,
sorry.
that was scary.
But I was thinking like a zombie rat. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just hear like you're just like, you know, doing the dishes and walk around the house, then you just hear like a little like tip, tip, tip. Like, what was that? And then you just hear like tip, tip,
Oh,
tip,
because
tip,
they are good at like
tip,
hiding.
tip, tip, tip,
Yeah.
tip. And then you're just like, I think that's coming. Is that like sounds like someone's like nailing something like on the porch, and then you just open your back door and you look on the patio, and there's just like 20 just little glowing black eyes just looking at you, just like.
We're gonna eat you.
And then they just chew through the screen, and they're just so gross and like.
Ugh.
Zombie rats.
The zombie birds would be. We're thinking of all these city animals. Yeah, it's funny
because we
live
yeah,
here. We're like all these these things.
We
that
live
come
in the
after
city.
us.
We think of house centipedes and rats. Probably someone in the country is like zombie
They're
deer,
like those. Yeah.
zombie venison.
I feel like the pigeons in Chicago are already zombies.
Yeah. Way.
I don't know. Just that they're not afraid to match you.
It's true. They don't show a lot of fear.
No.
It's because they're hardened by the city. They're good city animals.
They are good city animals.
All right. Good show.
They're tough strat.
Good show.
Fun. I think you saved it.
We pulled it back at the end. We did it together. So that has been our show. I have been Justin, JustinGolak.com. Check out that upcoming show. Tons of stuff coming up, including most importantly on 4/20 at the Den Theater. We got the next Killing Your Darlings. Come see some more material. Get chopped, baby. And if you go to that upcoming show tab at JustinGolak.com, you can find the buy tickets link. You can also go to the Den Theater's website. You can find it there, but it's easier just to go through my website. It's more direct. But if you go to the Den Theater's website, just click the events. You have the event tab, and you can buy tickets. Come on. It's the second one. Let's kill off some material. The first one was so much fun. Get your tickets early, and you can save some cash, save a couple bucks, come early, and it'll be a great show. So I'm like pushing the fuck out of that. Please come to that. I got road dates in Louisville and Indy posted now, and in South Bend. So that was the big road announcement, and those gigs are all up. JustinGolak.com, upcoming shows tab. You can buy tickets in advance there too. So
that's awesome.
Come out, see me in Louisville and Indy, and a lot of local stuff before those gigs and after those gigs. So at Justin Golak on Twitter, hit me up with the response to the bottle cap. Tweet me whatever else you want. Tweet me, Justin at JustinGolak.com. Send me them dick pics. Jackie Manty, JackieManty.com. At Jackie_Manty on Twitter, and Jackie at JackieManty.com. Send her them tit pics. Big old floppy and sloppy. Whatever you got, send her a copy. Jackie, what do you want to plug?
We're doing more podcasts over at mildlydepressed.com. No live shows coming up, but stay tuned. There'll be more.
Nice. And for everything else, remember, you can go to lowclass.com. That's LO-class.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a good rest of your day, week, month, whatever you got coming up.
Bye.
Until we see you again, enjoy it.